Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you back to round 4 of the Ultimate Frisbee Tournament. It is the 4:30 p.m. game. I will be one of your commentators for today. My name is Will Druzianic.
My name is Rachel Sehani Royal.
And we will be taking you through this game today. The Exiles versus the Hive. Exiles in red, Hive in white.
So we have Exiles who hail from Christchurch. They're a local team. They have been together for quite a long time. They play in the Opens division and the Women's division, and also in the Mixed division. And then from Auckland we have Hive, a slightly younger team in terms of how long they've been around for. They are a Men's division, Opens division only, and we have, yes, round 4 of the New Zealand Ultimate Championships.
Should be a great game today. The weather is seemingly the same as this afternoon's game, with quite warm weather, quite a still day, but the wind is picking up a little bit. I would still say less so than earlier today, but it should still be enough to affect the flight of the Frisbee path and when into the field you're in.
So we have from Hive, Guan Lang, Sheriff Ibram, Trevor Paharcio, Benjamin Chong, Kisa Valenti, Jafar Bowie, Chris Rapson, Sam Penfold, Brian Hollyoak, Shanti Padhi, Anthony Honi, Florent there we go. Sorry, we ran out of time.
From Exiles, we have Jack Tranter, Matthew Reyes, Scott Edwards, James Hall, Sam Lemon, Craig Morgan, Benjamin Johnston, Andy Chaffee, Ben Struman, Angus Robson, Matt Morris, Jesse Sutherland, Joe Matheson, Sean Lemon, Oscar Cunningham, Trent Garden, Noah Wall, and Lawrence Elliott. Quite big teams on either half. We apologize if we didn't get your name, but I'm sure we'll mention you during the game as we have numbers and names of players here.
So Exiles is running a slightly depleted roster today. They're missing a few of their players, just injuries, other commitments, so they're looking to run a slightly smaller team, but as a result, you get better connections, and if you're playing on the field together for longer periods of time, you have a better game sense together. So they'll try and run that balance of enough legs and playing together well.
Brilliant. I look forward to seeing it. I also recall seeing them in their training, practicing some longer passes as opposed to some one-on-one marking. So I'm excited to see what positioning they have when on defense and offense today.
And we have an interesting wind in the stadium. It's coming from the front of your screen to the back of your screen in terms of direction, but it is quite gusty, and it also wraps around the grandstand quite a bit too, so it can create some swirly spots, which makes it hard to predict what the disc is going to do. So we'll expect to see some discs that maybe go a little higher than people expected.
Always safe to go low on the first pull for the day, which will be going from the Hives. The Hives are ready, and the Exiles return it. And so the game begins. 90 minutes, half-time at 45 minutes. But of course, once a team reaches 8 points, we will also then have half-time. I apologize, it is just Hive, not Hives.
Okay, so we have early on, you'll see what's called a zone defense. So each Hive player is not matching up individually to each Exile player, although it looks like they might be changing. So they had a brief look at the start, and their defense is transitioning. This is a good way to put off the offense and make them second-guess what they should be throwing.
Great low pass there, making a lot of distance up the field. There's maybe an early point here for the Exiles.
We see some great fakes from these players. As I said, they know each other pretty well. And you see the hand signal for a pick. So a pick is a call that people make when they're not able to chase after the defender and mark them appropriately because another player has gotten in their way. So it's a thing that happens in other sports legally, but in this sport, we call it, we stop, we rearrange, and then keep going.
Play returns to Joe Mathiasen, though, to continue the play. Short pass. Oh, a fake short pass. Goes back, perhaps setting up a deep pass to get it just into that end zone.
Got James Hall with the disc, also known as Jimbo. He was trying to communicate with his fakes. And we have Andy McAfee with the disc now.
Exiles are doing a great job of repositioning and making this Frisbee move up the field.
Yeah, we're seeing good movement of the disc, but I think we could see better movement of the players. I imagine it might be because they've had a big day, a long day of Ultimate behind them.
Absolutely. You'll always expect to see people a bit tired after a full day of Frisbee getting into these final rounds of the day.
And you see them looking for that front cone, which can be really dangerous. But we have a great grab from Tranter.
That's a great pass. Hive was doing a great job of stopping them from getting them across that line, but Exiles just did a great job of repositioning and making some space. The pull will now go to Exiles.
So Exiles are now going to be pulling into the wind slightly.
If I'm correct, I believe the whole team has just swapped for the point.
Oh, so we have a full team sub from Hive. So as we can see, Hive probably have a few more players than Exiles, so we'll see how that affects the rest of the game. So the division that we're currently looking at a game for is the Opens division, so obviously it's men and women. So we have number 20 on the line at the moment, Kisa Valenti, who's playing in the Open division.
I think we have quite the game in store today. Exiles taking a small break to discuss as a team any tactics or things they want to keep going, as they did score the first point, so perhaps just encouragement to continue what they were doing. Hive signals that they are ready.
Yes, we see a hand up from Hive.
The pull being traded between players in Exiles.
So there, we got Joe Matheson throwing from the high side of the field is what we call this, the side that he's on. So the side that the wind is starting from and then traveling across the field to. That way when he throws it, we're expecting it to fade and move more towards the other side of the field,
Just
the low
as it's
side.
done. Brilliant job. Lift to drop by Hive. Great choice.
So we've got Valenti in the middle, surveying the field.
I still want to call this defense still drifting towards person-on-person marking. As we can see, most players are being marked by someone from the Exiles. A great job, although we have had an interrupted play.
So another pick call. So a few pick calls early on in the game. You know, teams are adapting to how the other the team plays, and you have to figure out what the spacing is going to be like. It is a responsibility of both teams to try and avoid picks and create spacing that avoids picks. So both teams will have to work on that.
Very deep throw from Hive. Great defense there from number 99 in Exiles. That is, of course, Matt Morris. Great defense, just swatting it to the ground and making sure the turnover goes straight to his team.
So I expect we're going to be seeing a few speculator passes like that, or hospital passes. So the throws that go really high and there's a bunch of players underneath and it could be anyone's disc. A lot of the time it's the person that jumps the highest, but not always. It could be the person who has the best understanding of where the disc is going to be.
I remember in the previous game there was a pass similar to that. 3 players managed to just lose it from their fingers and a player just up to the side managed to grab it. So it's always anyone's frisbee with a hospital pass. Great catch there from 13.
That's not an easy catch.
No. Great recovery there. I wouldn't have been surprised if that hadn't dropped, but it was great. Great catch.
Yeah, it's hard to read it when it's right over your head like that, so that was an excellent job by number 13.
Especially with the sun probably being currently in the Exiles' eyes.
So we see a hand signal for a foul. It means that the Exile player thinks that there was some contact that affected him, so they're going to have a chat about it. One of them from the ground, where they're getting
Recovering
a cheeky little rest.
No harm in that. Just a bit of discussion, but play will resume shortly. No opportunities were lost, as the frisbee will just go back to whoever was contacted mid-throw.
So hopefully they'll use their hand signals and we can see what the result of that call is. So it seems like the call has been retracted, which means that they've had a chat. The Exiles player doesn't think that it was a foul, and now it's turnover. So we see Sharif Ibram picking up the disc. Sharif, father of 2, a long-time frisbee player, hailing from Auckland.
Great couple short passes from Hive here.
Some nice fakes from Valenti. They're looking for that, that far side of the field. There's not a lot of room in that few meters of field that they're playing in, so I like that
with a
shot.
lot of potential. Could be a great catch here. Unfortunately, just drifts too far out of bounds where it would count as a point, so it has been left alone.
I'm glad that we haven't seen anyone yet running into the try.
At least the rugby post.
That
would be a big shame if we saw any players run into that. That is luckily far enough back in the end zone where I hope that it won't have any effect on the game.
And our tournament directors here have taken that into account. If anyone feels like they have to pull out of a bid because of the goalposts, then there are calls that the players can make about it. So that's good forethought by the tournament organizers.
And it is non-contact, so we will foul the rugby post. Frisbee is back to the Exiles. Great turnover here. Looking for some spaces and some great low passes. Another nice fake.
this is good work by Exiles. You can see that they know what to expect from each other, and that they're patiently waiting for an open shot. They're not necessarily trying to jam it through to unopened players.
Great team synergy
nice float there.
Making positions.
And that wind is pushing that disc over. You can see it, but another excellent read
Great
from the same
catch
player.
there. Great. Another, I believe, another score by Matt Morris there. Brilliant job. Exiles taking their points up to 2 above Hive.
Now, this is pretty textbook work by these two here. So McAfee passes the disc off, runs forward in front of this player, down the line we call that, gets it again in a strong position, comes to a stop, and then throws. So that's a power play, or power huck. It's when you're in a strong position and you got no one in front of you, it kind of opens up the whole field. So that was a great move by him.
And a great catch and a small pass, short pass, easily just put into the end zone, and a great point scored by Exiles, taking Exiles up to 2.
So that's a break for Exiles. It's Exiles starting on defense, managed to turn over the disc and then score.
Exiles now with the pull.
And specifically that was what would be considered an upwind point. Sometimes the harder way to go, so they'll be feeling pretty strong.
It's always great to get 2 points consecutively because it means no matter which way you're going up the pitch, you are consistently doing a great job of securing those points. Hive will surely be applying the pressure at this point.
So let's see if we see the same offense from them. Previously we had 2 handlers, or who were the players with the disc, standing at the top of the field, and then we had a vertical line of players, or a vertical stack.
A fantastic pull from Exiles, putting it all the way in the end zone.
Back corner is always a good place to be.
Hive choosing to catch it straight off the bat as opposed to letting it drop and doing the crossover with speed. Great recovery from 13 there. Unfortunately, just out of bounds, so it will turn over.
Penfold, who had to pass that up. It looks like he might have caught that while touching the line, which is out. So he put the disc down, acknowledge the turnover. So we see 2 handlers very close together on Exiles. I wonder. Right, so we got an initiating cut down the line.
Oh, unfortunately, number 24 in Exiles just not being able to catch that. Matt Ray are getting very close, but great defense there from Hive, making sure that it drifts outwards and is not another point scored.
And we're glad that we didn't see anyone colliding there. Matty Ray coming down the field looking for the disc, and that other player coming in behind him, so it's good that we had no collision. So we see a zone here from Exiles.
Unfortunately, the wind pulling that much further back than I think Hive was expecting, but a great catch from the player at the back to send it forward. Number 24.
Anthony, who had a great save there. So what I'm hoping to see from Hive here is a lot of fakes, moving that mark.
I wouldn't be surprised if they drifted it to number 43 here and tried to shoot it up the line.
You know what, it's funny, sometimes the tall guy always gets it, and in this case, it was an excellent grab from 96.
Just getting your hand securely around the edge of that frisbee and throwing it into your chest.
And you see, they're doing a good job, Hive, but you see a little bit of worry, I think, sometimes. Whenever anyone's in the end zone and you're just trying to get out of your own end zone, it's always a little bit more, makes you a bit more nervous.
Unfortunate turnover there. Yes, very true. A lot of pressure when it's on your side of the field for this long a time. It really wears you down having to apply that much pressure to Exiles.
Also, that was slightly short, that pass, and you had not only that, but it was also covered by Hive, and you had 2 players covering off.
Ooh, Hive unfortunately. Okay, another turnover, I believe. Back. No, it does remain Exiles.
And we have a shoelace being done up on the field. Very important. Very important. Couldn't possibly wait till the end of the game.
Of course not. That's how contact happens. Exiles really applying the pressure here, hoping to score this point. They've had it down on this side of the field for most of the time, and they just need to achieve a short pass into the end zone.
Exiles are working a lot on another grab from Tranter. That's 2 for him, so we're going to probably see a bit more of him later on in the game.
He'll be celebrating.
Exiles are, and you see that again from Robson. Robson, who you can see has got a bandage on in the replay. He, at our previous event, Chalice City Classic, suffered a bit of a hamstring injury. Still playing. Hope it's wrapped up nice and tight.
Bit of team chat before we return back to the game. Exiles are up 3 points, and I'm sure Hive right now is discussing tactics, things that they can change, and advantages they can take to get ahead in this competition.
Yeah, we have a timeout called, so it's hard to go down 3-0 at the start. You know, you want your team to kind of reset their mentality, almost as if you're starting the game again, and also just talk about what the other team is doing in those first 3 points and how you can adapt on the offense and defense.
We are currently 15 minutes into the game. I'm sure both teams are becoming quite familiar with how the other teams are operating. But as the game goes on, they will both change their tactics to try capitalize on weaknesses or advantages they can find.
You see a very tight circle there from Hive.
Hive just really needs to capitalize on potentially, their short passes are great and their positioning is great, but I think they need to find a way to just push it further down the field.
I think as well, we haven't seen a lot of longer throws from Hive. I know they have a lot of players who are able to throw that distance, especially downwind, and I think if they were to threaten that deep or end zone space a bit more, Exiles would have to watch out for that as well, and it would drag the defenders around a bit more. So hopefully we'll see some deeper throws as well. Hive a team that has quite a few new players this season from last season, so hopefully they've used the warm-up tournaments to get to know each other as well as trainings.
Always good to know how your team will operate, because there's only so much information you can gather just from signals from your team. Sometimes you just got to remember how your teammates play and how you can play to their strengths. The pull once again from Exiles. It'll be interesting to see if they do the same pull they did last time they were on the side of the field, where it drifted across.
We have McAfee with the disc, also directing the team. Looks like he's got a lot to say.
Everything planned out.
Oh, and he's passed up the disc.
We can see that Hive is ready, and Exile signal that they are also ready. And we are on a magnificent pull. Some great distance on that. And it is going to be tried to be caught.
From a younger player from Exiles as well.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so we're seeing a slight change. We're seeing 3 handlers back now from Hive. A wonderful little.
And here it comes. Will we see them slowly taking these bigger? They're doing a great job of just threading through the defenders and slowly making their way up the field. A great offense considering the length that that pull went to. This could be a very strong attack from Hive here. Some great fakes.
That's a tough side of the. Oh, that's a really nice pass, but unfortunately intercepted.
Great swat there from 73 in Exiles.
You can see that Valenti was getting nice and low with the release of that. Again, another power position huck from McAfee.
Taking a quick turnover, caught by Exiles. They have a big lead here. They could capitalize on this and make their way to the end zone.
Lemon on the blue hat with the disc number 32, one of 2 brothers on this team.
We probably are most familiar with each of their tactics.
You see a lot of trust in the Exiles players. Again, it's
another great point.
Sometimes it's difficult to substitute for having played with each other for a long time. So we have
Jesse Sutherland scoring another point for Exiles. That brings their total up to 4.
Really good patience. Oh, that's a sneaky shot. You can see that replay there. Right in between the 2 defenders.
Hive at the beginning of this play did do a great job of threading between all the defenders and making it up about 3/4 of the way of the field. But unfortunately, with a good intercept from Exiles, they were able to carry it all the way down to the other end of the field and score that point. The sun is now moving up in the sky, so I would say the sun is probably affecting both teams.
Yeah, the sun makes things very hard to, it makes it just very hard to spot. But it makes it so equally for all players. You have to watch out that you don't lose sight of the other players while you're trying to
That's how collisions happen.
As well.
People get injured. We had a couple hammer throws in the last game. I'd love to see those appear in this game at some point potentially, as they are always strong but risky passes. And we have the pull from the Exiles. Another fantastic pull, just drifting its way across the field into the end zone.
Big chase from Anthony there to pick that up quickly.
Great catch. Of course, catching the pull is dangerous because if you do try to catch it and drop it, it will be a turnover back to the Exiles.
do lose a lot of time if you let it fall to the ground, though, so...
Very true, and you do allow the Exiles to reposition. And a Hive, they need the time that they can get because they are a bit behind. Unfortunate turnover there. Unfortunately, no one was there.
That movement possibly too fast. It's always hard to catch just when you're running away from it or running in the same direction as it. It's a little hard.
Hive have to walk the line of making all these plays and of being aware that they are behind and have only limited time to make up for it.
I'm sure they're aware, unfortunately. Nothing's ever over in Frisbee, though, in Ultimate.
Very true. Still 70 minutes left to go in the game. It is far from over.
You know, teams go on hot streaks and cold streaks, and it's not unusual to see quite a few points in one team's direction and then for it to switch up quite a bit. So we have Tranter on the under, very fast player. Looking for the end zone there.
Great catch there from number 13, or 73, I believe. Either way, another great point there from
We can see it
Exiles.
again in the replay now.
Just all those short passes that they need. They're really getting ahead there with points.
A great grab. It doesn't let the defender closing in on him affect that either. Even went to knee to secure that. So this is a great run for the Exiles. I know that they were a little bit apprehensive going in. They had lost a few players. Being in Christchurch, there's some people who have had to go away and come back during the course of the day, but they are definitely making up for it.
Let's hope that they're not using up all their energy in this first half here because they may have to continue this heat for the coming future.
70 minutes is a very long time.
You can often tell how far you're into a game just by the body language of the players. Exiles are now signaling that they are ready. And the pull.
So what we see now is the pull going out before it even comes into the field. So Hive can choose to take it either way across the sideline, or they can choose to brick it, which it looks like they're choosing to. We see Anthony with the raised hand, number 24. He's choosing to take it from the brick mark, which is in the middle of the field, to give them more space on either side.
Easier to position, easier to find holes in the defender's positioning, so you can make those passes and get your way to the end zone.
So I suspect the Exiles player who put that pull up might next time think about taking it from the other side of the field.
The wind was not on their side for that throw. Ooh, unfortunately.
And a recovery.
Great recovery there from 96
truly excellent
and
work. Whose nickname is Sky Tower, apparently, and I think we are seeing why at the moment. That was from Barnes, who's looking for... There you go. We have Hive's first goal.
From Sky Tower again, I believe. Two great plays.
I can't imagine where he got that name from.
Yes, I must say, he did not seem to struggle plucking that Frisbee out from above him. Great job from Hive there. I'm sure this point has boosted their morale, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them just bringing this heat to every coming play in the coming future. Just a great pass, just finding the space, just putting it upwards, being aware that someone on your team is called Sky Tower, and him just being able to grab it.
We see Robson on the ground when he gets up, and great grab from Barnes. I imagine it's not the first time that he's done that.
A little bit of team chat, probably, in terms of what worked there and what they're going to keep on trying.
Oh, look at, we've got Hive coming in. Oh, we can't see it on this. We've had a little cheer on the line from Hive. They're obviously pretty psyched.
Brilliant. Always great to bring some positive energy to the field. This is a tournament, but most importantly, Ultimate Frisbee is just a fun sport.
We see some players on the field for Hive who have played for 10 to 15 years. I'm not sure exactly how long, but ooh, and
this is the danger of trying to catch a turnover. Unfortunately, Excel brought it to the ground after fumbling, and now Hive, with their great pull that brought them about probably like 6/8 down the field, are able to throw it. 6/8 also being equal to 3/4.
I have been told before, though, it's better to always try and catch the pole and very rarely drop it than to let it fall to the ground. A great find by Anthony.
Great job there from Hive.
He held onto that for a long time. He only wanted one thing, and that was to score. You could see that. Anthony's really taken charge of the handlers, the players who throw the disc more frequently this game. He is directing traffic.
And this might be this hot streak that we're talking about. I mean, Hive with 2 points in a row. They might have worn down Exiles a little bit, and if they keep capitalizing and making the moves that they are now, this could be a much closer game.
It's hard when you come out hot in the start of a game, and you've exerted a lot of energy. Maybe the adrenaline's running a little higher. To maintain that means you have to have enough energy for that. And if you don't, then sometimes it can change things up. But that being said, you don't have to always be the most energetic team. There's a lot of intelligence required to play Frisbee and game intelligence. So
stamina, endurance, all important factors in the game. And the pull from Hive, they've done a great job on their last pull, and I'm sure they're trying to capitalize and repeat those. And into the end zone, a great job. And it's slowly...
and it might have gone up. It looks like
it has stayed in, and it is a turnover.
And that's McAfee with the turnover. I'm sure he won't be pleased with that. That's unfortunate.
Almost a repeat of the last play where Hive has done a fantastic pull, and a turnover towards their end zone is probably allowing them to take this point. We're going to probably see a lot of intercept attempts from Exile here.
Anthony again with the disc, and to Sky Tower Barnes. Nice.
Fantastic catch. They're just getting around some of the defenders from Exiles and securing that point. 3 points in a very short amount of time. They've done what they probably attempted, which was make a comeback in the shortest time possible.
They seem pretty hyped, and we see that throw. We see how close to the ground he's releasing it. That's just a great release point. And a great receiver, so they're both pleased, I'm sure. We see Anthony again with the disc, so I imagine he's going to be trying to hit that back corner
Based
one
off
more
his
time.
success of his last 2 pulls, I'm sure they are reluctant to change what's been happening. Signaling, Hive is now signaling that they are ready. Exiles returns it. Another fantastic pull. The distance is just incredible.
He's really got those locked in.
Exiles going for the
letting it
safe
to
drop.
ground. So that's good from Exiles. I'd like to see it stay on this side of the field a bit more. You have the high side of the field, more room to work with because you're not throwing into the wind as much. So we've got a zone here. We got what looks like what's called a 1-3-2. We have a turn.
Great intercept there from number 49 in Hives. 49 is Louis or Lewis. I apologize if I've said it incorrectly, but a great intercept, swatting it there down to the ground.
That's Love Parata. Oh, and another turn.
Another turnover. 24 also just swatting it to the ground. Matt Raya making sure that they don't just lose 4 points in a row. Hive bringing the heat.
We've got a long way to work down the field, though.
Matt Ray with it again.
Pushing through that cup. So those players are in the wall, or the 3 players who are a little further away from the disc. They're looking to stay out of 3 meters. That's the minimum distance they should be looking at, unless...
The Exiles just working their way up the line with these short passes. It's getting them the distance they need. But I wouldn't be surprised if they went for a much deeper throw because they've got Matt Ray with the Frisbee again.
There's a lot of bodies in that space, though. You see that speed from Tranter. Nice grab.
That's good. That would have been a very tough turnover if they had dropped that. Here we go. There it is.
A beautiful put from Matty Ray.
Fantastic throw.
And
magnificent swat at.
Is that
Just
from...
spiked it sideways to the ground. That's the first one I've seen of that today, where it's been spiked, but in the direction it was
That's
flying.
from Owen's son. That's a great D. McAfee trying to drop him, box him out in his positioning with his body instead. And
Hive with a deep throw. If they can catch this, it'll be great for them. Unfortunately, swatted to the ground.
that was a nice long throw from our local Frenchman on Hive. Oh, and we have a low collision.
2 Exiles players, both not wanting to lose the point, have both jumped up and dived and have unfortunately landed on top of each other. Hopefully, no one is too seriously injured, but there will be a pause in play. Sometimes this happens in high-tense situations. The Frisbee goes high, a hospital throw, as it's said, and multiple people jump for it. And of course, this is just what happens. You know, some people you sort of focus on the Frisbee, and you've got to be aware of your surroundings.
I mean, this is where the phrase gets its meaning from. So we've got an injury indication from the player who's walking off from the Exiles now.
Obviously,
they've
nothing
substituted it
intentional
for
here.
a new player, uninjured, hopefully.
Hopefully just recovery time. Who knows? We may see them later in the game, but they've been playing great. Exiles still probably happy with the turnover.
Edwards with the disc. Edwards recently coached the was it the Shirley Boys High School team that went to the secondary schools nationals in Topau. They came second, so we're pretty proud of them. He's been working with them for a long time.
You can always expect to see great technique from a coach.
Trying to on.
Great passes
way
here.
down the line.
Oh, fantastic.
That's
catch
an amazing
there.
grab from Matheson. Matheson, not the first time he's gone to ground.
Wow.
Someone forgot that Tranter was in the end zone. That's a great put from Matheson.
The trouble with zoning sometimes is that a player can just get too far ahead and just position themselves in the end zone, and they can secure that point. Exiles probably pretty happy with that play, as they did make good pace up the field.
So we get to see that down the line shot and the beautiful footwork here from Joe Matheson to keep it in. A very close bid from the defender, just committing to that. You like to see it.
Number 52 was very close. It might have been Owen Sun again.
That sometimes can be the difference in the points. I mean, the fingers may have been like 2 centimeters away, but a swat down could have been a point saved.
So we're looking at 6-3 to Exiles.
Hive obviously showing that they can match Exiles, and I'm expecting to see them downwind train put this in pretty quick.
15 minutes left in the first half, or of course, until a team reaches 8 points.
So yes, we will have to wait until that point cap is reached before we go to half.
And the pull from Exiles. Curving inwards. Oh, and an unfortunate roll for Hive, who have recovered it, but they haven't had the time to position that they might have liked. Great passes here. A couple open players on Hive's team. Sorry, I apologize. Hive team.
Sneaky lefty, and we've got Barnes with the disc, using that big pivot to really move the other players around him.
Great defense there. Some say the best form of offense is a good defense. And Exiles are showing it because, and a return defense.
It looks like the mark might have gotten a touch to that. Might have touched the disc and been able to change its flight path.
Oh,
what a bid from
dive.
Robson. Showing.
I'm loving the dedication on the field today.
He came in out of nowhere. It's a high throw, though, so I want both players into this.
This could be either team's. Oh, unfortunately dropped.
So we have a foul called from the Hive player.
Dangerous. Hopefully number 73 is all right in Exiles. He is okay. Fingers crossed.
So we have an accepted foul call there. So foul accepted. I had to talk about it. They're both in agreement. So what's going to happen is the disc is going to be tapped in. It should have been tapped in there and then walked up. So I think hopefully they'll be going back to fix up that little. Rules are hard.
Here we go.
So
Here we
disc
are.
is in. He's walking up the front of the end zone, and now he's going to turn around and look at the whole end zone.
Play resumes. Still probably positive for Hive here. They just have to make a pass into the. Ooh. Unfortunately, potentially a foul there because there was definitely contact that may have interrupted Hive from grabbing that frisbee.
So we have a foul accepted again. So the player who was fouled should pick up the disc. So we just looking to implement our rules. And was that from
another
great
dive?
bid from Guyon.
Unfortunately, just couldn't grab the frisbee. But Hive are really applying the pressure
Grabbing the
here.
frisbee is really hard sometimes.
Especially when you're diving and your full body's in there, you're unable to readjust your entire body, and you've got to hope that you had it right from the very start, from the very first jump. Exiles making their way up the field. I must say a lot of Exiles points have just been from gaining position in their own end zone and then just shooting out the field, but a great catch from
And
the
the disc
defenders.
has gone out the sideline for that.
Unfortunately, that means
So Exiles are trying to find their defensive structure here.
Hive gets another opportunity then to work its way.
And Holly up with the disc moving up to Barnes. Oh, that's
Brilliant.
That's great patience and a great chase down there from number 3.
Following the frisbee, just waiting for it to be the best time to catch, not necessarily just grabbing at it when it's closest to you. Sometimes the frisbee works with you. Hive scoring another one from 38.
And that's Jafar Bowie.
Following the frisbee, catching it, and then just setting it up and getting himself into the end zone where he can score that point. Fantastic job there from Hive. They'll be really happy with that play.
He gets rid of the disc and then goes back to get it again. We'll see him come up in a lot of space, so he did a great job of cutting into the open space there.
I believe that takes the score then. Exiles 6, Hive 3.
There we go.
My apologies. It was Exiles 6, Hive 3, but with that point, that takes Hive up to 4. This makes the game much closer than it was at the beginning. Exile's hot streak has been interrupted by Hive's immense pressure.
So we're seeing that upwind pull from Hive now. We'll see how far they can get it this time. They've been, Anthony in particular has been doing that rather impressively so far.
Taking the balls, Anthony signals that he is ready to throw it.
So there were a few more foul calls in that last point, but I think were resolved pretty quickly. So hopefully
It was all well discussed and well resolved.
hopefully we won't see too many more. Nice grab from Robson. Again, this small move from Exiles. Small ball, small throws.
Great short passes. It's either the game's up to making well-executed short technique, like short passes, or going for the really long-distance deep throws like those. Like here we are. Just the deep throws that we're talking about. If this is caught, oh, unfortunately, just slipped out of the hand. But that would have been a great catch there.
From Cunningham, that was a good cut, and it was rewarded with a good throw. And I'm sure he'll get that one next time. Maybe not a pick call.
I'm probably quite worried after that. Or not worried, but definitely being more careful now to make sure that doesn't happen again. Bit of discussion on the field.
I think the players are just trying to decide where they should be positioned.
It's always hard sometimes to remember where you were when the play pauses.
You know, if you're looking one way and your defender was behind you, it's hard to know where everything is 360 all the time.
Especially in timeouts. I mean, 45 seconds off the field potentially sometimes, and you have to come back on and remember where you were. A fantastic...
Huge rip from Anthony.
Wow, if that is caught, then that is a lot of the... no, a dive and everything.
That backup play was impressive. I'm glad he had a player there with him.
So true. We are seeing some really deep throws here today, and with a couple more well-executed catches, they will definitely make their way up the field a lot.
And you see it again.
On the replay.
You know what? Being there is half the battle, you know?
Again, we see his zone. Looks like we've got...
Deep pass. He will have to... He's looking up. This is going to be hard. It may drop down perfectly. Great catch there. Definitely contact, but unfortunately with the successful catch, there's definitely a nice favor. They don't need to complain about anything towards a turnover. Short pass there, potentially behind.
We've seen a lot of contact in these last few points. Doesn't seem like anyone's... luckily, no one's hurting
injured,
from it,
yes.
but...
I think both teams enjoy faking quite aggressively, and I think neither team wants either of those to go through.
End of the day always makes it harder as well.
And Edwards there with the intercept.
Exiles just threading their way across the field at the moment. They're working their way backwards, but they are slowly improving their position.
McAfee giving some options behind as well. Nice put there from Cunningham.
The 26 off to the side, Scott Edwards is available, and I wonder if they will see this opportunity. Potentially so.
Body's on the ground again.
A lot of dives. Yes, will it go deep to... No?
Scott Edwards hanging out deep there, just being a
Making
threat.
himself available, I wouldn't...
Robson in the middle. They're looking to stretch the defenders out. You know, if you're not getting it, it means someone else is open. Exactly.
Right now, Exiles have a lot of players that aren't necessarily marked, and they've executed on it. They found a player who was open in the end zone.
There's a travel call, so this disc may go back.
A couple of steps. We'll have to take a look.
So it might be that. Let's see if we can spot it this time. It was hard to catch on the replay, but if the player drags their foot, changes direction as they're slowing down, or takes any steps, oh, we've got a violation. Someone started too soon. They're so close to their end zone now. You don't want to get too obsessed with trying to get it into the end zone when you can. Quite often it's more successful to trying to get it to the other side of the field into a more open position.
This is when the pressure is on Hive, though. The Frisbee is not far from the end zone, and all Exiles have to do is find one player unmarked who's able to catch that Frisbee. But you also need the space to throw. If you're going to play a marking you well, you can't expect to see any of those deep throws. Oh, unfortunately.
Robson was probably thinking about his next throw a little bit too much.
Taking the turnover immediately. If this is caught, fantastic turnover. Again, Hive is just immediately made their way all the way up the field. It'll have to be quite the catch.
They're making a lot. They're taking a lot of doing a very good job of taking advantage of the fast turn. So as soon as it turns over, they're picking up the disc. They're not waiting for any offense to be set, and they have players cutting deep. They know their game plan.
So true. And there's one of those hammer throws, and I believe. Oh, and a very, if this can just go over the defender and make its way into the, unfortunately over both players' heads.
That's that the Sun-Lemon matchup that we saw earlier, I think. And Lemon was just...
Both players taking a break.
Just made to jump a little early, and as a result, inches away.
It will be Hive.
Into the win now for Hive, though.
Anthony with the Frisbee. We've seen very large pulls from him. I wouldn't be surprised to see it just go fired up. And I was correct.
You know.
It will probably be going, and look at this. These are what I'm talking about. The big throws that just completely cross the entire field and turn the game around.
The disc. Looking for back again. There you go.
There it is. Executed very well. Another point to Hive. Closing that game up 6-5. Hive is now only 1 point behind.
That's almost end zone to end zone from Anthony.
Fantastic work. And not surprising. I mean, we've seen Anthony with these pulls, and whenever he seems to receive the Frisbee in his own end zone, you will see him fire it all the way up.
And we see a really smart dump here from Gervais, and then he looks straight back again. He's still open, using his body to get in the way in front of that defender there. His momentum was just unable to be matched by the Exile player down there.
I believe we are now having a timeout.
All right, yeah, so we've got Hive have brought it back significantly. They're more than capable team. These guys are pretty evenly matched so far.
From a 5-0 lead, Exiles have unfortunately put it to a much closer game of 6-5. So I think we will probably see this game play out to its fullest amount. I'd be surprised if this game ended with someone getting all the way to 15 with the defense and the offense both teams are bringing to this game. I think we'll see any more turnovers and points being scored.
So we have 90-minute games. So we're almost halfway
through our time limit at this stage. So we probably have our captains and our strategy leaders in these circles talking about what they can work on.
When the game's this close, neither teams really feel like they're suffering from a timeout because it's the perfect time to discuss tactics, what's working and what's not. We're seeing some great turnovers in this game where the moment the Frisbee is dropped, one team is just picking up that the Frisbee, and just firing it down to the other end of the field and just covering so much ground and then just executing that into a point. A lot of running. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of tired team members out in the field today with the amount of running to receive those just really deep passes from Anthony in the back and from the Exiles respectively. The sun is still out.
The sun is getting pretty low in the sky as well. It means that there's not only an upwind and a downwind, but also an into the sun and an away from the sun direction.
It's true. And with the Frisbee being white, it will be hard to spot sometimes when they are going the direction towards the sun.
It's hard to spot the Frisbee without the sun sometimes.
Very true. Even a cloud can sometimes camouflage that thing. Another part of Ultimate Frisbee is just having a good eye and being able to see where it's going and position yourself where you believe it will land. However, the wind has died down. I believe that the wind has become much less of a factor in this game.
And we see Hive taking the line. So after a quick timeout.
The disc going back to Anthony for the pull. I wouldn't be surprised if for the remainder of the game, Hive just passes the disc to Anthony as his pulls and throws have been spectacular in getting it into the end zone of Exiles. And with the wind potentially behind him in this, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it drift all the way there again.
Maybe he might decide he wants to share later on. We'll see. Those pulling muscles can get tired as well, especially over the course of a tournament.
Very true. I did not think about the fact for 90 minutes those throws will take a toll on your arms. Your whole body, actually, because he runs and brings heat into those
You can
throws.
see even with his longer throws in-game, his huck, so he's really using the anatomy of his body. He's got a long wind up with his arms there.
Exile catches and chooses to do a quick turnover.
Right in the middle, Matheson on the high side.
Forcing Hive to run. The disc being changed between players. A nice lob, but just over 91. Barely a frisbee throw, but more of just using gravity and throwing it more so like a ball, so it just drops down. Great stuff. Past the 24. We've got some players deep in the field at the moment.
Some
I
really
wouldn't be
good movement
surprised
for-
to see a deep throw, but these short passes are helping Exiles move it, the disc
There's
all
that
the way
deep
up.
throw.
And there it is.
You know, sometimes you can be free when you're standing still. Sometimes you don't have to run anywhere. Some players are better at that than others as well.
Very true. Exiles will be happy with that play after just returning from a timeout to just
Yeah.
execute something as smoothly as that.
And also not a terribly difficult point for them. They kind of had what they wanted. You can see here they're throwing it within themselves for a few throws, and then at the stage that might result in an error. And we have Tranter throwing that to Lemon, so Tranter getting a chance to be the assist there rather than the point scorer himself.
A couple short passes, just working their way up the line, allowing their own team to position themselves in the end zone, and then one deep pass with the disc just to really secure that point with as many players to pick from as they want. Exiles with the disc, about to commence the pull.
So we see number 13 back on the field after his injury sub, so it's good to see that he is still running. Sometimes it only takes a few minutes, and it can make a big difference to how your ankles, your limbs, your joints are feeling.
It's like ground shock. Eventually it wears off, but at the start you just need a break, and your team will actually suffer if you just try to power through it sometimes.
Hive indicating they're ready for the pull. Oh, and that
Unfortunately drifts out to the side.
pretty close to coming back in, though.
Yeah, would have been very interesting if it had landed back inbounds, but unfortunately it means that Hive have the option to either take it from the side where it went out or from the center.
And it looks like they're taking it from the brick mark here.
Yes, number 99, I believe.
Sharif Ibram. Good to see that he's being very sun smart today with his layers.
It was important with the amount of ultimate frisbee these players play.
Hollyoak now looking down the middle.
Great job working their way up the line. Reminds me a lot of what the Exiles just did. But I wouldn't be surprised. They don't have too many players too deep at the moment, so I would expect a couple more short passes.
You can do a lot of communicating with the disc and just your hands and pointing. You see Hollyoak and Ibrams doing that now.
A great deep pass, great catch, and here we have Hive players positioning themselves in the end zone just to make more and more options for Hive, who are passing it back and forth.
Ibram is definitely taking control at this point.
Oh, a great catch there. Would have been a big shame if that had become a turnover, but Hive isn't going to let that happen. They are going to try secure this point and close the 2-point lead that Exiles currently have.
Here we go.
Fantastic
And
couple
grab
of
from
passes
Hollyoak
there.
there. Again, he gets rid of the disc and wants it straight back again, this time in the end zone.
A very close game of Ultimate we have today, guys. 7-6, 1 point separating the two scores.
So with a half at 8 points, we're looking at this possibly being a half after this next point. We'll see what Hive have to say about that. We see this point again. Running as soon as he releases the disc. Pretty pleased with himself by the looks of it, as he should be. So Hive with the pull. We've got Gervais on the far sideline by the looks of it.
Bit of team discussion before the play starts. No doubt just congratulating them again. I mean, quite the recovery. I'll say it once again. Hive, just being 5 points behind at the start and managing to bring it back to 7-6, have really just showed everyone here that they deserve to be at this tournament, and they're doing a great job.
So this chat, I would expect to see a zone as a result of it. There's a lot of pointing at players and talking with them themselves. Plus, it's being up for Exiles. I wouldn't be surprised. Hopefully, Exiles will be able to anticipate that.
Hope so. Hive a signal that they're ready, and here's the pull. A lower pull here, still great distance.
And we see it being picked up and now in the middle with James Hall, also known as Jimbo. Great grab from Cunningham.
Great low pass there from Exiles, just managing to get past a couple of defenders. And just sometimes that little bit of distance is what you need just to make your way down the field.
We see some half-meter throws here between Edwards and McAfee. I wonder if they've trained those very much. A great pivot from Jimbo, who recovers easily.
Exiles are doing a great job of making sure that whoever's throwing the disc has space around them and are able to really work out easily who they can throw to.
We have this zone from Hive. They have a wall in front of the disc that seems to be a little wide. It seems to be that the Exiles are finding their way through it.
Matt Morris signaling that he's deep and available for the pass. Will we see him receiving a pass into the end zone? Once again, at receiving positioning, I wouldn't be surprised at number 9, actually.
They have someone hiding the top. They have Cunningham in the end zone here, hiding in that high side. But they don't need him. They just pop it in again. They've been scoring quite a few times on that, both teams on that front corner of the end zone.
Done a great job. Exiles scoring the 8th point, which does signal halftime for the game, which of course means that the teams will be taking a 5-minute break, which we will return to. It's been a great game so far. Exiles only 2 points in the lead. I'm sure the second half will be just as intense. My name is Will Juzianek.
My name is Rachel C. Honeyrow.
And we'll see you in 5 minutes. Thank you so much. Welcome back to the second half of round 4 Ultimate Frisbee. I'm Will Druzianic.
My name is Rachel Sierra Royal, and we are at the New Zealand Ultimate Championships in 2021.
Currently the score is XR's 8 and Hive 6. We have a very close game. Hive having a fantastic comeback from the original XR's 5 and Hive 0 score. We have quite the close game, and I think we have quite the exciting half for you on the way.
Yeah, so I mean, Hive's probably going to be coming out pretty pumped after having made up that ground and wanting to continue that effort. I think hopefully XLs won't be tiring too much. As I said, they're running a little bit lower on numbers, but they've still got plenty of subs. We also see the poll's about to go up. Captains and Spirit Captains would have had a chat over halftime to make sure that both teams are happy with the play as well.
XL signaling with the disc that they are ready for the pull. Fantastic pull, drifting more towards the center, but the wind carries it back towards the left.
A little bit of a fade down to that low side.
Great catch from Hive.
And we see the disc still on that low side. Hollyoak in the middle now.
Hive doing a great job of just these short passes, making their way slowly up the field. XLs are doing a great job of marking them, not giving them opportunities to go for the long, deep passes. Oh, but they still go for one. Great dive catch there.
A great catch, which has to now go back. A pick from Matheson. Looks like they're having a bit of a conversation about how that happened between Hollyoak and Matheson. So it seems like the pick's been either determined that it didn't affect that throw or retracted. It seems like it didn't affect that throw, so the disc is remaining on the far side of the field.
Very deep throw. Fantastic point from Hive right at the bat. They'll be very happy with that play. 9 in Hive. They are great catch.
Not sure. So we've got 3 with that grab.
Hive does have the advantage of players where when players do feel like they need to tap out from lack of energy, they can just head off the field. XR is having to put everything they can into the rest of this game, but the score drifts closer together as XR sit on 8 points.
And that's a great read from 3 into the sun there. Over his shoulder can be difficult. I'm sure he's done that before. We see Anthony with the disc from Hive looking for the pull again.
Continuing in my guesses, his very impressive field covering pulls. I would not be shocked if we watch as the disc flies from this end of the field all the way to the back corner of XRs. They'll have to put a hearty defense on and hopefully get it back to the other side of the field.
Really fast disc, just a great pull. Robson eyeing up to catch.
Great catch from XRs there, continuing the play
Trying to make up that ground before the defense gets in position. It looks like they had a play that they called on the line. Tranter under the disc.
Great catch there. Almost snatched it out of number 10's hands.
Sun has been great in the defensive against those longer puts, so it's good to see that he's maintaining that energy.
Hive with a very strong defense in this half. It seems that they're taking every turnover they can, and they are not letting position be lost.
Yeah, it's I mean, Ultimate's a game of offense. Game offensively advantaged. If you turn it over and you don't give it, if you turn it over to the other team and you can't get it back again, then it's the other team's going to win. So you're trying to maintain possession at all costs.
Minor interrupt in play. I would not be surprised by a very deep throw or a pass backwards here.
And we have some really disciplined throwing from these handlers.
Playing it safe, but that's sometimes the best decision, to just slowly work your way up and until you can find a better throw to get it into the end zone.
There you go, Penfold passing it off to Sun in the middle.
Sun unmarked. Loving the speed and the energy the players are bringing to the field. Hive is not letting up on this attack, slowly making their way up. XRs are going to need to do something. A good form of defense here to potentially gain possession again.
Anthony made that cut from the very back of the end zone at the back of the stack. So it's a lot of ground gained by him.
Here we are, the deep one. Can it be exceeded with a catch? Unfortunately not blocked by Exiles. A great block there.
Robson saw that disc coming in from a mile away and was able to get in front of his offensive player.
The important thing is not, you don't even have to make the catch in that instance. It's just getting it to the ground and making sure your team has position and it doesn't become a point scored. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple deep throws that immediately result in a point, because this is how Exiles do like to play the game. Although they are taking a more reserved approach in this play because Hive did a good job of shutting that down.
Robson's been great this point. He's been almost every other pass. He's just had the spacing that's made.
Oh, a very
hit.
committed intercept there from Anthony. Unfortunately, just missed the frisbee, but
he's very quick to
no
get up
harm,
again.
no foul.
And Tranter all the way into the end zone to
Great.
McAfee.
Great catch. Number 25, just making himself available for the catch.
So they had to get that disc back again, the Exiles, that time. So they, not a clean hold, but they managed to put their offensive point away. Downwind especially, you want to make sure. Oh, Anthony just having a sniff at that. And downwind, we'll see soon.
McAfee hitting off after scoring that point. Did a great job of making himself
Downwind, this
available
over
for
the
his
head
team
shot's
to
a lot
pass
easier.
to.
There you go.
Exiles with the disc, now leading the pool. Exiles 9, Hive 7. A consistent 2-point lead from Exiles. They are not letting Hive close that gap. They refuse to have the same number on the scoreboard. Half an hour left in the game. Hive circles that they're ready.
And we
Exile
see
returns it.
the pull about to come from Exiles. We'll see if they can keep it in the field this time.
Distance across the field, potentially great float. It'll definitely be in the other half, but it will probably slowly drop down. Will Hive try to catch it? No, they respectfully let it go to the ground.
And
Always
so
risky to try to grab those ones.
The Exiles defense is already was almost set by the time the disc landed, so that was a good amount of float for them from that. And
great dive there. I don't even believe the disc touched the ground at that
we
instance
see a
at
great
all, which
fake
is very
from Holyoke.
impressive.
He managed to fake out his markers.
Space being very well made. All they need is a couple players in the end zone. Fantastic pass.
Easy hold.
Threading through
Hive.
2 defenders. Securing that point. Great job from Hive there. They will be very happy with themselves. Any point that their team gets, they get in return.
And we see Hollyoak's pick up here. Always has eyes on the disc and not afraid to get his elbows dirty to go and grab
Number
it.
9 on Hive, Shatana. Great catch here. Just
And we see him lining up this low release.
there it is. Great point. That takes the score 9 Exiles, Hive 8. Oh, the catch into the shoe tying. Very impressive.
So we have Anthony again with the pull. Probably going to see the same thing we've seen the last few previous times. He's been really consistent about that. Obviously gotten a good feel for the wind on this field.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's worked for them most times. Even when it comes up short, he's still made enough distance where they are able to execute off of the fantastic pull. Anthony signals from Hive. Exiles return it, and we're off. Another fantastic pull. Exiles catch. Another couple short passes, making their way back up the field, finding space everywhere they can. Hive opting for more of a zoning defense as opposed to player on player.
So Hive letting those passes to the low side go. And then once they get all the way to the sideline, it gets a lot harder for Excel. So that big mark of Barnes is doing its job.
I wouldn't be surprised if they went off to the side of the pitch or just behind and really made these happen. Unfortunately, the disc going a bit higher than they expected, but it's well executed,
there to
and they're
pick it
able to
up
pass
to
between 2
11.
players.
It seems like there's been a travel called. Not a stoppage. They quickly keep
Game
going.
continues. Great passing here. Exiles great with the position, just not letting Hive get a hold of it, and they're slowly working their way up the field and just getting better and better positioning, slowly putting more players in the end zone.
Exiles are doing a great job of not letting go, not throwing those passes that are too pressured. You see big fakes, you see them attempt those passes. If there's someone there or if there's a defender there, they've got great awareness of where Hive is.
We haven't really seen Hive near where the Frisbee is being received to. They've done a great job of passing to players who are open. But Hive right now are doing a great job of trying to block every possible angle, but he still makes his way through. Unfortunately, stoppage in play, potential contact. Oh, a shoot eye.
A travel call, that was.
Okay.
It looks like Anthony might be just taking advantage of that stoppage to also tie his shoe.
That makes more sense. I would not believe that a stoppage would be made for a shoot eye.
So the disc is going to be going back. It's unclear. It seems like the travel was on Cunningham. Cunningham got to quite a high stall count and was throwing a lot of fakes, so it may be that his toe was dragged, and that was seen by his defender, by Barnes.
This is what I enjoy about Ultimate, though, is that it's just quick. They resolve what went wrong, and they just get straight back into the gameplay.
So we're not sure what the call is, since they're still talking about it. They've gotten the sideline involved as well, just for that added perspective.
And we're back on. Exiles immediately going for the point, but Hive will not let it happen. A great swat there.
Great read from Ibram there.
Not allowing it. Now a turnover back to Hive.
And we'll see this shot go up from Cunningham. Disc is tapped in.
Great low pass there from Hive down to 13. He's trying to spot if he can do a deep throw. I wouldn't be surprised if they went for it. 97. Very close defense. Exiles hoping to get back the position. Great pass there, just past two defenders, and a great fake there. Oh, unfortunate turnover there, just slipped out of the fingers. It happens, even with the best of players. But Hive and Exiles are bringing their heat to this match.
Hive's done a great job of pulling that zone in quickly as well.
Exiles have a couple players behind them, which I wouldn't be surprised. There we are, and it'll probably sail just to someone further ahead now who's made themselves in a good position.
Again, some really awesome, some great space awareness there. Got Morris in the middle of the field. Matheson, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd wanted someone in the end zone there.
The Exiles are just doing a great job with all these short passes. They're not taking all these risky deep shots, but a great
And that was a convincing foot block from Barnes.
Hive doing a good job of taking back possession. The game still quite close. There is no 2-point lead anymore. Exiles are at 9. Hive is at 8. 20 minutes left on the clock.
So this could tie the game up if Hive is able to get it all into the end zone. So they've swapped the disc out. That brutal foot block did a number on the disc, as it seems.
I believe they do golden point in this tournament, don't they? If it gets down to, well, if I may stand to be corrected, but I believe if both teams end with the same points at the end of this, there will be golden point to see who wins.
Oh yeah, so it definitely you have to it's first to 15, or if the time cap is reached first, then a new point cap, a new number is
Oh, I see.
found.
Great pass here from Hive. Can he jump and catch it? Oh, unfortunately, just lose it out of the fingers.
And we see a no call signal from Ibram.
No, I think, unfortunately, it just wasn't in his hand even before
And
contact.
we see the play again. It seems like there wasn't contact on, Gervais. There wasn't contact on the play, but there might have been contact on the disc. However, Gervais has decided that it didn't affect his drop.
From below, yes. Exile's probably pretty happy that Hive wasn't able to tie up the score, but Hive are probably going to be bringing a lot of heat to this defense here as they just are so close to the end zone and they want to make this point. Oh.
No one deep for Exiles, so now we see
We're
that
couple
cup
deep.
setting up.
This is the thing. A lot of people are just able to sprint their way up the field, and I wouldn't be surprised if Exiles just go for it. A very, very deep pass, and here it is. Will it be executed?
And we see Matheson and Gervais there.
Okay, good. Both just unfortunately just a bit too short, so although they brought, unfortunately, a minor head
So
injury.
Gervais is on the ground, signaling injury.
That he may have hit the back of his head. He'll probably be subbed off as he is.
So yeah, he's called injury. He's going to go off.
It happens. It's sometimes hard to break your fall with your hands when you've got both hands up trying to stop that frisbee.
Yeah, when you're just looking at the disc, it's difficult. Sometimes it's just a bit of a shock to the body, and that can be the hardest part. You just need to make sure that you're okay and that there's nothing functionally wrong with you.
Play will resume, though.
So we see Matheson's, they have a downwind backhand force.
Ooh,
Unfortunate
turnover there for Hive.
off the chest of Penfold. We've got some great communication from Matthew Ray.
Definitely getting across what he wants.
From the sideline, I believe. Good to have that sideline active, especially when you have fewer numbers.
Oh, a hammer throw. Could this be a hammer into it? Point. Oh, unfortunately, just slips between the hands.
That was a great read into the sun.
Exile's aware that they just missed out on a point, but Hive just suffered from the same fate, just like one field run earlier. The game is far from over. Both teams getting very close to scoring more and more points.
It's a
great low pass.
It's an excitingly tight game.
So true. This is the closest game I've seen today.
Barnes eyeing up the deep, and off it
Great
goes, but
pass
it's
there. Oh.
straight into an Exiles player.
It would have had great distance. It probably made it straight to a player, but Exiles had positioned themselves just well enough that they were able to swat that down. Oh, and this is it. Those are those quick turnovers where they just throw them deep, and great defense there.
That was a little tough roll for Cunningham there, but no call. I believe it was just, you can see it now in this replay. It may have just been, it was after the disc had been D'd, and it might have just been
it's just thumping into each other. The players shook hands afterwards. They both acknowledged.
Good to see Cunningham jumping
No
back
one
up
had
again.
ill intent. Everyone's being a good sport about it. But play resumes. Hive is going to want to get some distance here. Positioning, great pass there. Number 2, just putting himself where the frisbee was going as opposed to being where it was thrown.
A familiar face on the disc here. So we see his defender trying really hard to get in the way of that
Players
puck.
are going deep now. Will it drift back and bounce? It does. Wow.
An excellent grab from Sun under the pressure there of Cunningham.
Hive storming the pitch to celebrate his teammate's catch. That was a fantastic deep pass.
A lot of cheers from Hive here. They've just evened it up now.
52. Owen Sun, I believe, catching that one. We can
see
probably
it again.
see the replay. This just deep pass.
James Hall desperately trying to stop that pass.
Anthony just firing it down. The frisbee just grazing along out of bounds. And then Sun just being able to catch it, pluck it, and he's in the end zone celebrating.
And a pretty clean bid by both of them there, so it's good to see no one getting taken out.
And that takes the score to 9-all. A very, very close game. We're going to be every point now, with only 17 minutes remaining in the game, could be the difference between who wins and who loses.
If both teams are going to hold and score their offenses, currently Exiles is still ahead. However, we're one break away from Hive being in the lead for the first time this game, which should feel pretty good for them. They've got 16, almost 17 minutes left to do that.
Both teams now no time pressure being behind. They can just capitalize on this time and try and make the best plays they can. However, in terms of the time, if it runs out, neither team is behind.
So this is the first day of a 3-day tournament. So as important as every game is, hopefully we're seeing
Pull from Anthony in the Hives.
That just landing out, McAfee waiting for it to hit the ground to see where it's gonna land.
As it can now be taken to the middle or from where it went out.
So the brick mark is a mark on the field, in the middle of the field, an end zone's length in front of the end zone. So in this case, it's 18 meters. And we see a zone from Hive.
This is the problem with the pool slightly drifting outwards. Exiles get to move the frisbee up an entire end zone's worth.
So we have one person, Barnes again on the mark. He's been putting in a lot of steps today on the mark. Doing a great job of it. We've got 2 people in the wall in front. They are getting the disc between them quite a few times. So I wonder if they're going to look at trying to tighten up their wall a little more.
Definitely still a zone defense here, but it really feels like players are drifting more towards a player-on-player marking system.
And they're moving together well. They're not getting pushed out of shape. So they've obviously got a good understanding and trained this and played this quite a bit.
We're seeing a lot of short passes as well.
Great fill from Tranter.
Oh, unfortunately, just missing that block. Exiles are making a lot of distance here.
Anthony is making himself a bit of a threat in the air. And a great spot.
Unfortunately, just fell out of his hands. It was a slight fumble. It really looked like there was a secure catch for Exiles, but unfortunately the play continues. Hive is probably pretty excited by the second chance they've been given, but a great block there.
Morris getting that back. That's a great look from him. Abram has thrown that quite a few times, so I'm sure.
It's always tough missing those in-zone catches, but the Exiles are definitely fighting back. And they will.
So we see Hive finding their match defense. And that disc had quite a bit of float on it. That was matched by 2 or 3 players.
Just kept going, but it luckily just got touched outside, pushed outside of the end zone, so no points were scored. Gosh, close game today. I'm sure Hive really wants to be ahead for the first time in this game. And it only takes 1 point.
In the stack here, we see quite a close stack.
You always have to expect those deep throws from Anthony. Oh, and a great catch, just slightly off of the foot, or potentially off the ground.
We've got a foul call here, so it looks like before Barnes made that second attempt on the disc, it seems like the Exiles player was thought that the contact affected his ability to also make another play on the disc.
A slight potential accidental fend, maybe, but they are discussing the point.
At this stage
who deserves the turnover.
At this stage of the game and at this stage of the day, we see quite a few players sitting down, crouching down, hands on knees.
Take every break you can. Hive is taking advantage of this small break. Discussion point. This is important. Who gets position here? I can imagine both teams are probably fighting for position of the disc here.
So a foul is confirmed as the call from the Exiles player. So it would be good to see a few more hand signals from both these teams to help us out, since we can't be down there and listening into their conversation.
It's a game of charades up here for us commentators. We can only imagine just the alternative viewpoints each players have in terms of what happened.
So at this stage, with the conversation having gone on for as long as it has, it's likely that it'll be contested.
This is eating up the time of the game, though, unfortunately. And
it looks like at this stage the game will go to time cap regardless.
And it will return back to the throw from Anthony, which was a great deep pass, but unfortunately just the catch at the end was just too muddy to tell if either player affected their ability for the other one to catch.
It looks like the throw came from Ibram, since he's picking up the disc now. So that was a big put from him.
Yes, my apologies. They're both wearing caps.
So this resumes as it was when the disc went up. And
there we go, another deep pass, just capitalizing. Hopefully not the same instance, but this one is in the end zone. If it's a catch, it will be a point. Fantastic job. Hive has got the point to take them into the lead for the first.
That's a great gather by Penfold.
Fantastic from Penfold that takes the score to Hive 10, Exiles 9. Hive is celebrating, and they deserve it. They were behind by 5 at one point, and now just finally getting ahead. A fantastic catch.
Penfold just getting right under the disc, not giving Lemon a chance to bid for that.
Exiles, a good attempt at defense, the same height, but unfortunately just Hive positioned themselves just that little bit better, and we're able to receive it. But the play continues. The game is far from over. It is still anyone's game, but it does feel good to be in the lead.
Yeah, it's swung in the direction to favor Hive now. They have to. Exiles are not going to be napping. However, they've got some work to do now.
Maybe this is where Hive's numbers really helped them in terms of resting. Exiles players may be tired, but I really feel like at this point in the game they will be bringing as much energy, gumption to the game as they can. Ball from Anthony, I believe.
Same corner, same player, possibly same pole, we shall see.
Shall see. Consistency. Don't fix what it broke. Great catch there from Exiles, though. Not giving Hive time to position without getting a couple passes up the field.
I see a lot of players wanting the disc here. Some good strings of small ball and
Fantastic.
throws.
I would not say that the disc has been held for more than 2 seconds by any Exiles player. They're really capitalizing on the distance that they want to cover.
And it's really dragging the defense around. So
A hammer throw. A hammer throw through the arms of a defender into the Exiles player. Ties back up the game, and a very exciting point that was.
I think Robson's going to be pretty pleased that that was picked up.
I said I wanted to see it today. I said a hammer throw into a point would probably make my day, and it happened, and it was spectacular.
And we see him, he spots that corner.
He sees that he's open. And
Listen around.
it really looked like Hive had that player marked, and I was a bit worried to be swatted out of the skies, but no.
And you see it just, being touched by the defender who holds his head. His son has had a few Ds in this game, and that could have been another one. It was centimeters off swatting that out of the air, so he did, but unfortunately.
Fantastic plays from both teams, 2 amazing points within 2 points of each other, and it ties the score back up at 10-10 for each team.
So Exiles on defense for the first time in a few points. Wonder if they're going to be pulling out a different look or a different defense.
Seems most of the game has been zoning. Exiles signal they're ready for the pull. Hive returns it.
Tranter, big pull, lots of height. Hopefully it stays
Slowly drifting down.
in the field.
Unfortunately, it has drifted outwards, which gives Hive the option to take it to the center or to where it went out. And by center, I mean brick mark. Of course, 1 end zone in front of the end zone. End zone's worth of distance.
Being walked up by Abram.
The sun is slowly making its way behind the clouds, which might make it slightly easier to see the ball, but it is still bright in the sky. Sorry, ball, disc. Great passes there, just 2 that have taken it all the way down to the end zone. This is what Hive wants.
Yeah, this is great. A great string of long shots that really have gained the ground. Now they're just staring down the eyes at the end zone.
Oh, unfortunately, just couldn't get a hold of that.
Oh, great
disc.
bid, but it looks like it was stripped by the ground. And
Replay of that. Unfortunately, it just fell out of his hand as he was turning over, and it just didn't happen.
You see it
just
here.
the perfect pass, really low, goes for it, and unfortunately, he just can't grab it, and it falls over him. It would have been spectacular. We can see that Exiles drifts more towards a player-on-player defense when it gets to this point, but we've had a pause in play.
So we had an injury sub there, bringing on Anthony. It was a bit of a heavy landing for the laying out player. Disc has been tapped in, and you'll be happy to hear that there's another Hive player coming around to check on his teammate who's just taken an injury sub, so he is being looked after.
And an Exiles player. Always great to see good sportsmanship. And the play continues. Exiles with Frisbee with the turnover. Great throw at the disc. Very short. Unfortunately, just out of bounds.
It looks like that disc might have been touched by the person who was marking the disc.
It was. So it did. Okay.
So Abram picking it up from where it went out, so that's right on the cone, because that's the last time that the disc was in the field.
Ah. Okay. Very close. This is a good part for Hive to capitalize on. They just need to make... The Exiles are doing a great job of player-on-player marking, though. They just need another hammer throw to potentially another point. And it's happened.
Great.
2 hammer throws to points. Hive securing another point. As we can see, a lot of fakes just trying to get the Exiles player that's marking him off so he can just make a mark, but he decides to go over instead of around. Great catch. Full speed
91
round.
bringing that in. That's Guy on Lang. Now, Abram was determined to get it into that front corner there and had to end up going over the top to a slightly riskier option. So maybe next time we'll see him turn around and look for his dump, the players behind him, so that they can find a new angle of attack on the end zone.
Hive not letting Exiles take that lead back, though. Although they were equal for just a short while, again, Hive has pulled ahead at 11. Exiles 10. Hive with the pull. Will we see Anthony take the pull again?
There's a lot of chat happening on the Hive line at the moment, so I wonder what they're going to be throwing defensively.
with only 5 minutes left, they may focus on just a really strong defense, although that could potentially be another couple plays. This is quite the close game.
And we're also seeing quite a few players funnel into the grandstands now, so a lot of people find that that can amp them up or give them some added energy when there's more people watching, more people on the sideline.
It's been quite the game. I think whoever wins will see quite the celebration. Wow. That is.
Oh, that's some great float.
That's a great float. It gives. Oh, unfortunately, drifts out to the other side.
Just
this is
a few meters out.
First time I think we've seen the pull drift out to this side of the field, but a great pull still from Anthony. Exiles will take it though. I believe it goes to. They will be taking it from the brick marker.
So I'm not clear if there's a cone on the field, if it's to mark a potential hole in the field, it looks, so that no players step into it, because it seems like it's not marking the brick market.
Potentially so.
And again, another zone. So that was obviously what the Hive defensive line was talking about. Now they're really trying to slot through. The Exiles are really determined to get through the wall. They have players who are standing behind that wall, trying to receive those throws, and then the active cuts are coming from behind the handler. So we've got downfielders who are waiting to receive, and then when that isn't coming off, you've got resets coming from upfield instead.
Zoning is a great way to tick down the clock, though. It makes whoever has the disc take time and evaluate all their options, and the longer they're holding onto the disc, the shorter the time Exiles have to make this point. Exiles making these short passes, though, and making some distance up the field. I wouldn't be surprised to see a deep one leading towards a player, but a great block there.
And
from
look,
Hive.
that kind of throw is a great throw from Cunningham, but potentially as a younger player might not be as aware of the defenders. And we have another injury sub. So this time an Exiles player. We have McAfee, who's looks like it might be an ankle potentially.
Hopefully he's all right, but great defense there from Louis, number 49 in Hive, just spotting that on the ground to make sure the Exiles don't get their point, and they do keep their lead.
We have a Hive player.
We shouldn't be surprised when Anthony goes for these deep ones. Unfortunately, just not able to catch
Sam
it.
Wong just shy of that one. Trying to get his body behind the disc there.
Anthony and Sun having a lot of these long, deep throws and catches that really change the game.
So it seems like a Hive player, Ibram, is helping out McAfee on the sideline. Looks to be just a cramp. Some great teammates helping each other out there.
You've got a team in Ultimate and you've got a family.
And
Great defense from number 43.
That was great. That's a good lesson, and always run onto the disc from Chris there. And a quick score. They don't need much time.
2-point lead. It's been a while since it's been a 2-point lead, but Hive are now 12-10. The players are storming the field celebrating. This could be what they need to secure the game.
And we see we missed the bid, but Sam Penfold doesn't take much time at all. Doesn't need much time at all.
Well positioned, great catch, takes it to the ground.
96 is a great receiver, and sometimes a strong strategy is throw it to the tall guy.
Sky Tower. Can't forget. Never forget about Sky Tower. And the game resumes. Anthony once again taking the pull. Hive probably pretty comfortable with this lead considering the low amount of time that is left. One minute left in the play for Hive. As long as they can stop Exile from scoring twice, they will secure this win in the round 4 of the Ultimate Tournament.
So soft cap is being called here in the stadium, so it seems like our clock on the screen is a little bit off. So at the end of this point, whichever team has the highest score will add a point to that score, and that will be the score required to win, the score needed to win.
So am I right in saying that when this timer hits 0, assuming the scores stay the same, it'll be first to 13 wins?
No, at the end of this point. But
so
if Exile scores, if Exile score and it's 12-11, it'll be game to 13. If Hive scores and it is 13-10, it'll be game to 14.
Keeps it very intense, very exciting.
And we have a
stoppage and play.
A call. We have well, it looks like it might be another injury, another cramp from an Exiles player.
3-day tournament here. Hopefully these players will make a return tomorrow and the day after.
which is really unfortunate. We have 13 coming off. Someone needs to get this team some electrolytes, or maybe just a big dinner will help. So not much left in the game. As I said, we've confirmed that we have soft cap gone. XL is looking to work against this zone again. Same zone as before. Anthony's working really hard in the middle. He's trying to stop those through the walls, but there's XL's players on either side of him.
Great defense there.
Through from behind. He was baiting that. He knows what he wants. He knew that he could get in front of it.
Great pounce, great defense.
And a great recovery. You see him rolling. He's taken a few dives. He knows how to fall.
We may as well be at a swimming competition because of the amount of dives we've seen today. Great, just passing behind. Oh, but a minor stoppage in play once more for Hive. Potentially.
We have another injury. This hasn't been it's not been a very good run. We have number 13 Penfold coming off and Hollyoak coming on for him. So players are going to be hopefully going home tonight and stretching, resting, doing the necessary rehab.
Spa session. But play continues. Hive.
And we see a huge
another hammer throw.
Oh, it's turning over again.
Unfortunately, just drifted backwards. Made a good distance, but definitely was not going to land in the end zone.
That was a very big shot. Ambitious and potentially a good shot. That was very close. And we see Robson on the low side. He's very fast with his releases. You'll see him. He probably already knows what he wants to throw by the time he's caught the disc. And we see a scuba from Matthew Ray.
Hive not letting up on the defense.
Sun with the disc.
Great
getting it back.
Short passes. They've got a lot of distance. If they get a couple players in the end zone, it'll give Hive a lot of options.
Yeah, they've flooded to the end zone now. They know what they want. And there we
it
go.
Is. Brilliant. That takes the score up to 13 for Hive and 10 for XLs.
And we see, we get to see that shot again, so.
Just identifying where in the end zone, after a couple of short passes, identifying where in the end zone you can pass to a player to get this point.
And it's then a quick shot in for Sri. That's some good flow from them.
And they're calling it, and that is the game. Showcase is the match after this one, which means that the game is being wrapped up with Hive winning at 13, XLs at 10. It was a close game the entire time, but XLs have done a great job. Hopefully you guys will tune in for the Showcase game, but my name has been Will Druzianic.
My name is Rachel Siahani Royal.
I hope you enjoyed the game, and we will see you tomorrow. Thank you.